great to see too, because you know they were getting a whole lot of shit during the major for the whole 6-man thing, and it's really cool to see them kind of break that bubble and prove that they're a really strong team, because these are top tier teams at this tournament. Yeah, and they are able to win against other international opponents, which I guess is the other big question mark that a lot of people had. We can take a look at the standings as we are now basically filled out the entire bracket. This was all the way back in the beginning. OG going through, dropping to VP. Alliance taking down Unique, beating Secret. Viking GG taking down Nigma, and then getting taken down by T1. And lastly, Tundra taking down a Liquid without Mickey, and then losing to Quincy Crew. That was the culmination of the first 2 rounds of our upper bracket. Meanwhile, in the finals, VP was able to dethrone T1. So VP already has a win against both of their prospective opponents, and Quincy Crew fell to T1. That's all of the upper bracket. Now we can take a look at what happened in the lower bracket. Gambit eliminated Tundra, Viking GG eliminated Unique, Nigma eliminated Secret, and OG beat Nigma in an amazing series. That one was probably one of my favorite series of the entire tournament, Nigma versus OG 2-1. And Viking GG not only beat killless against Gambit. Yep, shellacking. Absolute shellacking. And then the last leg of the lower bracket finals was Alliance taking down a Viking GG, and OG taking down Quincy Crew in the Hassan Bowl on the B stream, both 2-0s. And then yesterday, last series of the entire day, was Alliance 2-0ing OG to eliminate them.
Yeah, I feel like we had a lot of 2-0s compared to the major, where most of the games went full series, like full 3 games. So overall, good Dota. Like as you mentioned, like OG versus Nigma, great series. I think for me personally, yesterday when Virtus.pro played against T1, that was the best Dota so far in the tournament. Just overall, 2 great teams with the great understanding of the meta, how the game should be played. Like they don't have a at all. It was just a pleasure to watch. Yeah, I agree. I think to me was that in that game 3, you have 2 teams that are normally extremely structured and extremely skilled in the late game, and it put an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. It results in, you know, this absolute clash, and in both teams it was kind of mistakes being made, hilarious, fun mistakes to watch. Like that's the most exciting Dota in my opinion. It was a throne race. But the VP throne, or the vice versa, the T1, it was a throne race. You're right. VP throne under attack, and also a lot of improvisation by both teams in situations like that. And it's fun because you said VP no weaknesses, assuming they're on the internet. Before the tournament started, I chose them to be the winner of this tournament, and so far I have not been disappointed. The boys, they know how to click the buttons, how to use the keyboard with their online. Might need a LAN, might use like a mental coach for TI. I think that would be a great idea for them, just to relax a bit, because when they're playing in the environment where they feel comfortable, they do so much better. They also mentioned they had kind of got the jitters out in group stage, right? And so even though they probably should have a mental coach, because I think that just innately is going to help almost any team, still, if they can play a group stage before they go into the playoffs, that team I think will look a lot better. Coach, I don't mean mental coach that you have like a sponsored ad on your Instagram. I'm talking about like sports, you know, coach, I need a life coach / psychologist. yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if first, we got one of our last DHL pro tips coming right at you, and then a break.
And before we get back into the next game, these are your DHL. The higher and higher rank you get in Dota, the more important warding becomes. Playing that their supports suck at warding. And that's because wards are totally invisible to the naked eye, and they give you crucial information about the enemy team that they don't know you're receiving, which can be insanely powerful. In side lanes, are split up, because then you can choose to kill either one of them or stop the enemy support from pulling. So there are two varieties of ward that you can use. You can place one in the jungle, scouting the support's position, or one in the lane, scouting the core's position. You can make to ensure your precious ward does not get dewarded is to block the enemy's most prized neutral camp with a sentry ward, then place an observer ward scouting the same area but far away from that sentry. What will happen is that the enemy support will see that the camp is blocked and giving them a false sense of security. As the game progresses past the laning stage, there are two game states that you can be in. Your team is farming, or your team is pushing objectives. If you're content with farming, then you want to place wards in front of whatever objective the enemy team is likely to make an informed decision about how to defend that objective. It's also worth having the team is farming in behind a tree. If they hit you, there's a ward spotting you, and you can deward it for golden experience. If they don't, then you're scot-free. Tier 1 towers even have less night vision than you have attack range, so you can hold alt and walk a bit into their attack range to check if they hit you. Once again, if they hit you, you know there's a ward. Too bad no one on your team planned ahead and bought a sentry, or this tip would be really useful.
Stop what you're doing. Get in the moment. Yeah, you can do it. Stop what you're doing. Get in the moment. Yeah, you can do it. Stop what you're doing. Get in the moment. Yeah, you can do it. Stop what you're doing. Get in the moment. Yeah, you can do it.
Bracket final time, everybody. T1 versus Alliance. Not sure if this was on many people's prediction lists, especially with as stacked of a tournament as it was. There was Liquid, there was Secret, there was Nigma, there was
much better online, like here at ESL One Summer or last DPC or the season before that, and
Well,
aren't able to perform at the major.
so first off, during the last 2 games of the DPC season, FNG was actually staying in my apartment. And notably, Alliance won both of those series. So definitely think there's something to say about your living situation and, you know, being in the same space as a former champion. But end of the day, maybe they're just more comfortable playing from home. I think LAN, not jitters necessarily, but, you know, online play has a lot of routine to it. Whereas when you get to a LAN environment, you don't have the same comfort. You're typically like, you know, you have to travel to the arena, you have to wait to play. So you're coming in cold, you know, you don't have time to play a warm-up overthrow or pub directly into your match. And sometimes that can really affect people, but I think they also tried in a way a little too hard with the draft. Yesterday, Limp, Tiny, and Magnus. Today, Magnus once again. Just keep giving him these strength style kind of carry / playmaking initiators and just see what happens. And so far it's worked really well for him today, or well, throughout the tournament.
Yeah. So yeah, top lane, what'd you think of this last pick Axe for Cuckoo? They're gonna have a Grimstroke Axe lane trying to pressure this Animage, but the Animage does have a Winter Wyvern behind it.
I'll have to see. I actually like it more as a carry in against AM because of how incredibly high damage the Manta Shard build can be. You know, completely ignoring AM's magic resist. I've been doing a lot of research for an article on how resistance stacks, and AM, I didn't recognize just how insane it was, but the hero becomes almost invulnerable to magic burst later on in the game because of how the mechanics works. So I think the laning phase will have to go well. Grimstroke's pretty nice in this sense because it allows them to apply a lot of extra pressure. But I would worry for Cuckoo though, because you need a blink post Vanguard really early on. Nice skewer. It's a lot of harass.
Yeah. Good amount of damage put on to Carl. They do have the water runes coming up, and Carl does still have a bit of regen left. As you can see, he's heavily trying to contest whatever CS the Limp is going for. Bottom lane is going to be the Wraith King into the Tidehunter lane, who's a hero who is very adept at being able to deal with Wraith King and his skeletons and the small instances of damage. Kraken Shell just deals with all of that.
Doing a lot of research into damage block too. I was hoping we saw Spectre into Tide today.
Oh, Zephyr, that's it. First blood. Just slowed down too much by the Arctic Bird, and now Cuckoo's going to find most of his mana is going to be burned away as Nico Baby takes the opportunity to put the pressure on 1v2.
Yeah, I found out earlier today, damage block affects physical damage reflected by Spectre Dispersion. So it's part of the reason I saw at the major a lot of times teams were picking Tide into Spectre. I don't know how much of a role that played into it, but to your point, yeah, skeleton damage almost completely absorbed and negated by the Kraken Shell. So definitely a solid matchup there. Should be able to defend towers quite easily and force Wraith King maybe into the jungle. But mid lane's kind of the one I want to watch here. I think Carl's Doom, when he's been able to play it, it's looked really strong. And this hero, especially against the 3 Alliance cores, you get to that point where you have Shiva's Refresher. You know, that is game winning. You delete Mag, Tide, AM, even just one of the 3, you're almost certainly going to win a team fight if you get them before they cast any spells.
Yeah, the pure damage is a good way of being able to kill the AM if he can get it off on the Animage, right? It's just the danger of the counter spells. So
yeah,
Carl, both in his performance in lane and throughout the game, is going to be so important for T1's victory or loss.
Yep, my 2 favorite heroes against AM are Slardar and Axe for this reason, because you always get the disable. You don't have to worry about counter spell. You know it's guaranteed going to land. And I love this Nico Baby. The early Orbit Corruption.
Again.
So good.
Yeah, this is the way to play AM nowadays, I think. If you're not going Orb of Corrosion, unless you just have a really bad lane matchup, you can't actually win as Animage. Like, just get an Orb of Corrosion, run people down. Supports are free all the time. Cuckoo is going to be forced away, so that pull is probably going to get the entire camp denied. So Cuckoo is not happy with how this lane going. And Tidehunter, he's feeling all right, you know? Like, big difference, I think, between these two off lanes. Cuckoo's getting more CS, but he's having to burn through regen constantly.
Listen, is this a kill?
Carl? No, he's okay. Then, not quite able to go that deep because he does have 3 levels of Empower in this lane matchup.
And not a bad side. Both sides probably going to play a bit more passive. I will say I actually kind of favor T1 into the later portions of this game. We also neglected to mention they do have the Grimstroke Doom. Combo, so initiation for T1 is going to be key. The one flaw